Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of PD and PDubs Unscripted here on Friday, March 18th. Pastor, PDubs, how's it going?
I'm great, PD. Having a great week so far. I'm so happy it's Friday. This is really great. You know, spring is springing up and the weather is getting better. You know, the birds are chirping. It's glorious.
Right, I think we talked about how the sand cranes were flying back when we were doing Ashes on Ash Wednesday.
Yeah, the sandhill cranes. In fact, I was out with the dogs on Monday, and we heard a couple of them flying around, and I pointed them out to my wife, Gwen, and she's like, oh, yeah, they're really squawking. So they're on the move, man.
On the move, but people aren't here to just listen to you and me talk here on Friday.
No, that's a good thing because they probably get enough of us.
Probably sick of us.
Yeah, so we have to bring someone in who will, break up the monotony.
Right, so and it's a community connection. So we have Dana Rowe here with us. So Dana, welcome to your first episode here on PD and PDubs Unscripted.
Well, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. And also, when you look at our logo, that was Dana's creation off of some scribbles that Pastor and I put up.
Yeah, we're so thankful that you're creative and you can take what we're thinking on a piece of paper that looked really archaic and crude and turn it into something really alive.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that comment. It's like my heart and soul to turn little sketches, like you said, into like a created logo that can be used for other things. So
yeah, we don't have that skill.
No. We thought we were doing pretty good.
Don't sell yourself short because it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad?
It wasn't
okay.
that
All right.
bad.
Well, I will take that and hold on to that.
Okay,
Thank
we
you for
did
that.
something right.
Yes, we're onto something. It only took an hour to figure that out,
Yeah,
right?
it took more on that in the name of this podcast than figuring out what we're actually going to talk about on a regular basis.
Yeah. So today is Community Connections, and Dana and her daughters and now son are really involved, and her husband are involved very much so into helping others in need in our community. And so we wanted to share a little bit about the Sisters Giving Hope organization that your daughters have organized.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for having me, like I said. Mm-hmm. And I love being part of these kinds of podcasts just to, give the community insight on, my kids' number one thing and want people to know is that, no matter your age, you're able to help others. And I think when you're smaller, younger, they always used to think when they were younger, like people at my age won't be able to accomplish things and help people because we need my parents and so on and so forth. But, in 2000, let's see, when did they start? It was 2013. My daughter will be now 18, my oldest. And then I have twin 15-year-olds, Georgie and Cassie. And then Topher is 12. And in 2013, I'll backtrack and let you know how it started.
Yeah, sure.
And I knew you guys too, which is kind of cool. So you guys have kind of been with us on this whole
from
journey.
The beginning.
Yeah. And so it stemmed from a jewelry box that Keely, our oldest, had gotten for Christmas. And in this jewelry box was just like beads, a variety of different color beads. And she also got the loom bracelets, if you remember those little rubber bands that people used to make, the rubber band. So they started making things over Christmas break with their jewelry, and Kaylee came up to me and said, hey, Mom, we should make jewelry and sell it and take the money and give it to someone who needs the money. And it was just as simple as that because she was super young. I think she was 7. And at that point, I'm thinking, okay, who are we going to help? Like, how are we going to start this? I don't even know what to do. I've always had a heart for serving. And be in the hands and feet of the Lord. But I at that point, Facebook had just kind of came out, and I'm like, well, all right, what are you thinking, honey? And they kind of collaborated together, the three girls, and they said, well, let's just put a letter out there or something and see if anyone grabs on. And sure enough, we with the kids, with them saying what they wanted the letter to look like, I wrote out a letter on Facebook and said, my girls are selling these bracelets. They've made some money. The bracelets were $2 a piece, and they must have sold 500 in the first week and a half.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Because I think that people see the efforts of young children, and people want to help. But a lot of people don't want to do the effort, but they're willing to pay and see what children are actually doing. So the first actual fundraiser that we did was for a little boy. His name was Colton, and he needed a stem cell transplant. And so the kids raised money for this trip. And so, we, without even meeting the families, we got this letter saying we have this boy that needs help in this family. And it kind of went from there. And just verbal communications from one person to the other saying, hey, there's these groups of children who are helping. And the letters started pouring in. And it went from a jewelry box to making all sorts of craft items. And so that's mainly what they did, was craft items and selling them at church and outside of Walgreens and selling them on Facebook. And
What I really love about that is the girls took something that they really loved to do, put all the beads together and the bracelets, and they made it very personal. It's got their absolute personal touches on it. Like with every bracelet that's made, they put some thought and effort into it. And so it was like a natural thing for them to do something that they love and use it to help others. And it seems like, I mean, based upon what you're saying, it caught on like wildfire.
yeah.
And
sure.
the Lord really blessed the efforts.
Yeah. It was outstanding. I mean, even at like parades, we'd have like little booths out, and St. Patrick's Day parade, they'd make green bracelets, right? So they started, now at that point, they're like, wow, this is really working.
Yeah.
So that like set this flame in them. I'm going to help more people and help more people. And so, every time they had a fundraiser or a letter or they were another thing that they did too, and I can step back a second, is not only did they help individuals with various things, people with cancer, someone's house burned down. It wasn't just the sick, it was people in need.
Yeah, like personal crises.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But even when they did the arts and crafts for this to sell, it was something in it was tied to what they're fundraising for. So there was this little girl, Quinn, and she had an illness, and she had these certain colors, and an orange bead was part of the illness. I think it was leukemia, right?
Okay.
And so that every bracelet had an orange bead in it,
Wow.
right? So each thing had a little bit of this uniqueness to kind of fit what or who they were fundraising for. So I loved that uniqueness to it too. So it wasn't just the same bracelet that they're selling for every single one. It was personalized. And I think that's why people liked it too, because they could wear it and support the person that they loved. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is probably what attracted people to come alongside and support them, as you say. And you make a great point. There are a lot of people who want to do good things in this world, but might not have the time or the bandwidth to do something like that. So they find someone who has great energy and passion, such as you and your daughters, and it's so apparent, and they're like, I can get behind this. And they're so willing, and that's really cool. Right. That must have been awesome.
And the coolest thing too is, so you're young, right? They're young, and they have friends, right? And so that's the key, right? Their friends are like, I want in on that. So now it opens up their hearts to giving, and now they're giving from their home, because now they're at their own house making jewelry, and that's how it started almost like blooming, right? Like, so we're helping, now our neighbor's helping, and the neighbor's helping, and the grandma's sewing, and so we started it, but it evolved into something great. And I think that's where we see the Lord working with us and through us, because not only did these bracelets touch the people wearing them, but it touched other people, like by making them and serving and finding a purpose and finding a way to help. So.
And as you were talking, I was reminded of 1 Timothy 4:12. It says, "Let no one despise you for your youth, but set the believers an example in speech and conduct and love and faith and purity." And I feel that's exactly what Kaylee, Cassidy, and Georgie are all doing. They're setting that example, even though they are youth. They're setting that example in their conduct, in their faith, in their love, just for other people. And that's always one of those things. I know that was one of our school verses here at Immanuel. I don't know if it was one of the years when they graduated from here.
I'm not sure. I don't think so, but it does ring a bell, though. I think it might have been the year before.
Okay, or in between that. But it's one of those, like, they're setting that example, and like you're talking about, you see now how it's kind of snowballed effect, where it's like not just their friends, but neighbors and other people are joining in on this.
The Gold Ribbon Project is one too. I wanted to point out they had done it, I think, 6 years in a row. That they simply cut plastic tablecloths from the dollar store, gold ones, to support Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And so they would cut them into little strips and tie them around the trees. And at
I remember that.
Yeah, and at one point we were told we weren't allowed to tie them on trees because it was a public area, so we respected that. But some of the community restaurants picked up on the fact that we weren't allowed to do it, and so they welcomed them in their restaurants. So we tied them on chairs and
Wow.
and so even that, different communities started picking up on it too because they saw it on Facebook. And so we told people that we would have the ribbons available if they wanted to pick them up. So once again, it was easy because we did the basis of the work, but they wanted to help. And so I love that we can figure out just a little bit of a way for everyone to be involved. So they would come pick up the ribbons and hand them out to their neighbors, and soon enough, people had them on their trees or in restaurants, and just this little thing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so this past weekend, you had a bit of craziness in your driveway.
Yes. Not the first time.
Not the first time, but recently,
Yeah.
Bundles of Hope. So
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about that craziness this weekend and
Yeah.
how it looked like you were having like a thrift store sale or something?
Garage sale.
Garage sale, yeah.
Sure. So this is their 5th year doing it. It takes about 4 months to collect items. So the kids made flyers in the high school. We posted it on Facebook on their page, asking for simply like winter items to bless the homeless and the less fortunate over the winter in the winter months. So it's anything from toiletries to snacks to cold weather jackets, hats, gloves, so on and so forth. And we collect them. We keep them in our garage in giant bins. And on the day of packing, this is the first time doing it in our driveway for this event. Usually we are blessed by someone volunteering to let us use their warehouse. But
Right.
this year, we just thought instead of transporting everything from our garage, since it was a beautiful day, we thought we'd just do it in our driveway.
Yeah, the Lord gave you a great weekend to do it.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then the volunteers flowed in, so it was great. And we packed 38 bags, and in each bag, I can describe what they do. So they call them bundles of hope because they sort the items. In one giant gallon Ziploc will be snacks and non-perishable like food items. And then in the other giant gallon Ziploc bag will be toiletries. So anything from soaps, conditioners, anything that you would use in that sense. And then the kids open up, and this is all like kids. All the kids are doing this, and it's easy for them to do, and they actually really love it. We blast music. We have a really great time.
Nice.
That's
Great
another thing. We've
atmosphere.
always made the atmosphere really fun because kids want to participate if it's really cheerful and fun. So they lay out the blankets. They take the 2 Ziploc gallon bags, put them in the middle, and then they put socks, a towel, a sheet, a blanket, a pillow this year, a warm jacket, and then they fold all the corners in. They twine it up with twine, tie it, and then they place the bundle, which is the blanket with the stuff inside of a garbage bag to keep it all dry. And then they label on the outside per gender and size. So it'll be like women's large or women's small.
Good.
So when they are able to hand it over to someone on the street, or in this case, this year, normally we do it for the homeless and less fortunate or anyone who needs one or lets us know that someone's in need. But this year, with the pandemic being the last 2 years, there was an abundance of donations at shelters, pads places, so on and so forth. And
Right.
even on the streets, quite frankly, because a lot of the homeless are being sheltered in hotels,
Right.
which is wonderful for them. But now all the donations have been coming in, and these places are so overwhelmed. So we prayed about it. We couldn't find a place. And then all of a sudden, my daughter was like, Mom, why don't we help the individuals in Ukraine or someone here that is, involved with all of that? And sure enough, we found a place yesterday, and we took the 38 bundles to a donation site, and my son was involved in that portion, and it's kind of fun for him.
Great.
Yeah. And
The two of you guys kind of did the delivery,
Yeah,
right?
we did the delivery.
Yeah.
We were like,
Very cool. And if you're interested in seeing any of these pictures of this last weekend's bundle project, just go to Sisters Giving Hope on their Facebook page.
Yeah.
And like them, and you'll be opened up to a whole new world of giving and serving into our communities. And you'll see exactly what Dana talked about with, like the blanket being wide open on the driveway, and then all the things, the contents being put in there, and then them wrapping it up and tying it up. It's really cool. And I was thinking, having been to your house and, your garage you have a pretty good sized garage, but you had a couple of vehicles in there. And one was, I think, your husband's, like, he's got
White
really,
car, yeah.
Yeah. And then Kaylee's car,
Yeah.
last time I was there.
Yeah.
So he's probably happy that he's getting his garage back a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
Like I said, this project takes like 3 to 4 months just collecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even yesterday, he got this whole garage back. He's sorting out the tools and all this stuff, and he's like, "Oh, it's beautiful."
Got my man cave
Yeah,
back.
I got my man cave back.
And I'm just kind of scrolling through there, and I was thinking, like, well, it's like, man, to see how they've grown over the years, the girls.
Yes.
Like, because some of them, I'm like, man, they look so much younger there. But even because hasn't, like, Kaylee even done some, like, face painting, too, to raise money? Or even as I'm looking through back from April of 19, but the sidewalk artwork.
Yeah.
The chalk art. And, like, I know she's done some of that here at Immanuel and some amazing artwork there. And I know isn't the face painting another way to help?
Yeah, so the everything we do, like even like for my photography, we all kind of dabble in some creative abilities. And Kaylee and Cassie had started their own face painting business. We'll call it business, but it's, they were doing it for cash and giving a percentage of whatever they are earning for these birthday parties and simple just, outside barbecue things. They would go and face paint and they would get paid. And a portion of that was always going to the fundraising efforts that we were doing during the time. So back in the day, this last year, I think because of the pandemic and schools changing and stuff like that, they did 2 big projects. In the past, we did a project every 2 months. So we have served so many different people and organizations and collaborating with like St. Baldrick's and Cancer Foundations and Starry Night and all these different places had ended up finding out about the children doing Sisters Giving Hope and asking them to be present and setting up their booth. And
Well, you really get out into the community to help people understand and meet you, see what you're all about. I remember being at the Business Expo prior to the pandemic, and we were kind of putting our wares out there for Immanuel School, and then there were the girls over there painting faces. It was really fun to see. And every touch point, and where you're saying, wherever they can get out, whether it's parades or community activities, they're willing to do these things. And then I was really drawn to what you guys did for Halloween last year, where it was Halloween for Hunger. And you made it so simple, like, 4 steps.
Yep.
This bag, that you give them a bag, it's for you to make giving easy. Place the non-perishables in the bag, put them outside on Halloween morning, and we're going to come and pick them up. And that's really awesome. I remember doing something like that for Boy Scouts years and years ago. They kind of coordinated with the Postal Service. So we went and put the bags out, and then the mailman would come and pick them up. But it was kind of a one-time deal. It didn't kind of continue, but it reminded me of what you're doing,
And I think around Halloween time has always been a big time of giving too, because back in the day when they were young, they used to do trick-or-treating for canned goods. So we would pull a wagon, and they would get their candy, right, because they're little, and then they would get canned goods too. Another thing that they did with trick-or-treating for candy, because they get abundance of candy, right? Like all the parents oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to keep all of this. And I remember at times where dentists would pay you, right, for pounds of candy. So the kids found, it is called, it was through a organization, Packages for Patriots.
Okay.
And they service patriots overseas. And during Halloween time, they send packages of candy out to the patriots. And so there was
cool.
years and years that my kids would bag up their candy in little Ziplocs and put a little note inside each one. So not only just putting the bag of candy and taking 3/4 of their candy willingly, I plant the seed of the idea on some of these, and then they're just I'm it's a choice. You can do that or not. I don't want to ever force it because then it feels like
Yep.
it's not the same thing.
Right.
And so Cassidy was really involved in this. She had a really heart for doing this project, but she bagged up her stuff in her little Ziploc bags, and at the age of 8 or 9, wrote these little notes like, God bless, hope you love my candy, stuff like that. And then we started volunteering at Packages for Patriots. So then we
Wow.
started to know them, and we started doing it every year. So it's interesting who you meet along the way doing these things too. Even the trick-or-treating, everyone's like, wow, that's such a great idea.
Yeah, not many kids are willing to give away their candy, for
No.
sure.
They're trying to hoard it all for themselves.
Yeah, it's like, look what I got. And they got places in the house where, you find these stashes of candy, like, a year later. Like, why is this still here?
Or that's like, well, fine, I'll give the candy I don't like to this.
Exactly.
But you said something there when you're talking about the candy for the military, like Cassidy really enjoyed that one. Now, have you seen that with the girls, like that they kind of have specific ones that they really get drawn to, that they kind of have like, this is my pet project?
Yeah, for sure. It depends on, I think the story of, they really, I think, had ties if it was someone at their age too, if we were helping a child, or there was a boy named Dylan. He has sarcoma. It's a form of cancer. He's survived it, which is amazing. We still talk with the mom periodically, but he went through a really tough time, and Kaylee still talks about Dylan, asks about Dylan, and so when the kids are doing these projects, they hear the story of the child going through this, or the family. Georgia really was intrigued by helping a family in Inverness, and I think you guys knew the neighbor of the family or something like that. It was in Hoffman.
Oh.
It was a family who lost their home to a fire.
Yes.
And one of the adults suffered really, really bad injuries. And I'll never forget that, because we met them and she was just crying, and just for the kids to see that their efforts mean so much.
Right.
Is just huge for them, and it makes me really proud to see them feeling that and seeing that and feeling like they're really making a purpose. And they were noticed on the news. Do you remember when they were on the news?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was really cool. The news found out about them. It was during, I don't really recall which project, because at that point they were really rolling, like they were on the move. And the news asked them to do a showcase on giving, and it was amazing. And they had their shirts, Sisters Giving Hope shirts on, and the newscast lady is still on there right now, so it's cool.
Nice.
And they were able to basically tell the world and people watching that anyone is capable of doing these things.
Yeah. That's the inspiration that your girls have, and you're right there supporting them, both you and your husband Chris, and that's what it takes. Like, you foster this environment, and you tell the kids that they're very capable, and they launch, and then they see all these things happening, and that it is helping people. Just living out their faith is so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. And one other one I was seeing on the Facebook page was the second annual book drive.
Oh, yeah, the book drive.
The book drive.
Oh, the book drive. Chris loved the book drive.
Let me guess, they were in the garage?
Oh, they were in the house.
Oh, in the house, okay.
Because you can't have books outside,
That's
and
true.
humidity,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it all crinkly and wrinkly. So, just like it says, it basically like a book drive or a book, I don't know, I'm not thinking of what it's called, but, so the kids would collect used books. We'd have a bin on our front porch in our old house. It was a plastic bin. It had a top on it labeled book drive for Sisters Giving Hope. And people would come every single day. This was probably our one thing that everyone had, that I guess when you read a book, you don't need it anymore.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So their thought was, we'll have a book drive. We'll have it like a garage sale. So we collected for 2 months books. So we had in our living room, we had books everywhere. Books to the ceiling, books to the walls.
Wow.
And, so when the book drive actually came, we advertised it outside on Facebook, on the different social media profiles, and it was like a garage sale. We just put book fair, and people came, and we sold each book for $1, and I don't even remember how much, if it says that, but we made a ton of money doing that.
I don't think this one has the sale.
was
It's
awesome.
just kind of saying it's Thursday, July 12th and 13th of 2018.
Yeah.
And just kind of note 100% of all book sales will go to purchase snacks
right?
for kids
Yeah,
at
school.
local elementary school.
Yeah. So they took all the money. So it's basically a cash exchange. So they'll take the money and they went and bought all the different snacks because Georgia, I remember this was a Georgia thing. She noticed that in class, when there was snack time, some kids didn't have snacks. So she was giving her snack to like the people next to her, but there was a rule at one point where you can't share snacks and you can't because of nuts and allergies. And so being respectful of that, she said, Mom, there's like kids in our class who aren't having snacks. They just sit there and they don't have snacks. And so we took the money from the book sale, went to Costco, got all the healthy, like allergy-free snacks, literally filled the trunk with all these snacks and brought them on, we had carts full of them, and we brought them in the school and we separated each classroom. I think there's like 23 classrooms in the one public school. We gave each classroom a huge bin of snacks.
Wow.
So anytime a kid needed a snack, they would go in the bin and get a snack.
That is so cool because that hits something that might not be widely known is just hunger in the suburbs.
The hunger and security.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you see it at the high school level, elementary level.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what's awesome about that stuff too, and it's not, if you don't have a snack today, go get a snack. It wasn't like that. The snacks were for anyone who wanted one.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they were pointed out or they had to raise their hand. It was just there. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that in different situations where kids don't want to feel left out or they don't want people to notice, like Georgia did, that the little kid didn't have a snack.
Right.
And that one we did that a couple years in a row at least.
Yeah, it's the second annual, and like just going through, it's fun looking at the pictures of you guys when you're buying the things. Like here's a post from December of 2018 where you're buying stuff for kids at Mooseheart Child City and School Incorporated.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Where like stuffed toys are as big as the girls, and so.
Well, and that's the beauty of Sisters Giving Hope is like they go from idea generation to going to find the thing that they want to make, and then they'll like have it out there, and people will donate for those items like the bracelets, and then it's not like, well, we're going to take that money and give it to said organization and let them carry the ball to the end game. No, your girls go like, oh, let's go to the store and buy this and that and this and that, and then. Oh, well, we have to deliver it. Oh, well, first we got to package it. So we're going to package it. And then we're going to deliver it. And like from beginning to end, the Sisters Giving Hope are involved all the way through, which is really awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of them. And there's something really said for getting the cash at hand, right? They have a Sisters Giving Hope. It looks like like cheese balls. Mm-hmm. It has like a slit on the top.
Yeah.
So they just like shove the cash in there. So we have this like cheese ball thing in the basement that says Sisters Giving Hope. And so, like I said, it's like cash exchange. Sometimes people, they don't buy things, right? Like they won't buy snacks. They're just handing over this wad of cash to someone. Wow. And the face reactions from these people are like, you just gave us $1,000 in cash. Like, thank you so much.
Wow. Yeah.
And it is nice to see the start to finish because they feel really like they made a change.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's so amazing what you guys are doing there out in the community, and that's why we wanted to have you on to share about this amazing thing. So, like, anyway, people want to find out more, how can they find out more about what Sisters Giving Hope is doing?
So on Facebook, they have a Facebook page, and you'll see the top page has, I think, an image of the three of them in front of some bundles, if I'm right. If it's, yeah. Mm-hmm. And there you can just reach out, and you'll see there's like a message area that you can reach out and message us if you have anyone who is in need. We'd love to hear about them. We'd love to hear stories. And just getting inspired by, maybe show your children some of the stuff that the kids are doing. And that's kind of the purpose of why they do it too, to show, like I said at the beginning, that it doesn't matter the age you are. It's possible to be helping people. It's out there, and you can get other people to help too.
And I see you have an email address. Can we give that one out? The Gmail?
Yeah, perfect.
sistersgivinghope@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And if you go to their Facebook page, you can be one of the 658 people who like this page. So you got to get there and like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
So yeah, I think that's all we really got for today. So Dana, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me,
Yeah,
guys.
it's
I
really great to have
appreciate
you
it.
on the podcast.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, so thank everybody for listening and see you down the road.